I'm at the CLSA conference in New Delhi, and joining me now is a senior economist from CLSA, Rajeev Malik. Rajeev, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a long time we haven't spoken to you, so it's a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure.
The big talking point for the last few days has been this big surprise move by the government in terms of demonetization of the currencies, both the 1,000 rupee note and the 500 rupee note. Your first reactions, and what could be the near-term impact on growth?
So unquestionably a bold move. I don't think anybody, whether they agree or disagree with, would not acknowledge that it is a very bold move. Implementation could have been better, fully well acknowledging that this element of surprise was very important in this. It's just a case of functional, on-the-ground reality in terms of how post-demonetization things, etc., would work out. So that last-mile connectivity input from an operational perspective could have been a lot more constructive. I do think near-term, the fallout on the real economy would be there. Maybe it lasts about a couple of quarters. But I think people generally would be willing to absorb it simply because the political angle in terms of an issue which has been literally addressed with a sledgehammer, or at least I should say partially addressed with a sledgehammer, would go down quite well. And I say partially only because it addresses the stock. It's a one-time purge of the stock of, part of the black money in cash. It doesn't do anything about the generation of black money, which one would have thought would have actually been a more constructive and less disruptive move to go ahead with, especially when you think about the fact that GST next year would have improved compliance in any case.
So, while some of your peers have already started penning down the Q3 and Q4 GDP forecast, and probably for the next year as well, at CLSA, have you looked at paring down your expectations for Q3 and Q4?
We haven't formally revised it, but I think the short-term impact could be anything from 0.5 to 1 percentage point of GDP. I don't think it will really impact FY18 forecast in any meaningful manner.
Sure. The other big hope or expectation is a big lollipop coming out of RBI to the government. It's a long debate. A lot of people have endorsed to it. It might happen. Some of them have said this is not a possibility. What is your take? Given that there is so much of hope now building up, that with this demonetization move, there could be a big windfall for RBI, which probably government will be able to take it back in terms of dividends.
I think just take a step back and think about it intuitively. If all countries where fiscal was under pressure, and don't forget all EMs have a certain black economy or informal unaccounted economy, all of them would resort to demonetization. Have a big windfall because of lower currency liability, and then tell the central bank to transfer that to the government, and they'll be laughing away to wherever. We know that doesn't happen from real life, and there's a good reason for that, because central bank balance sheets don't necessarily operate the same way as a private entity. Central bank balance sheet has a big impact as far as money supply, money creation, etc. is concerned. You also have to see what happens on the balance sheet compared to the banking sector's balance sheet. So my own sense is, while the fiscal will get better simply because part of the informal or unaccounted economy will get captured in official statistics, I'm not buying this, lollipop, as you called it, of a transfer from RBI to the government, and that will solve all the problems.
Sure. The other big thing which a lot of people have not spoken about, forget the next 2 quarters, which now people have started anticipating that there will be a slowdown, and probably that reflects into the equity markets as well. But beyond this 6 months, given the way the GST is likely to roll out next year, the way this thing has moved out, the currency has been stable for a year now, you think there is a fair chance of a sovereign rating getting upgraded for India, if not in the next 2 quarters, maybe in the next 1 year from now?
See, implementation will matter, and implementation has never been India's strong point. But I do think just on the GST, and I'm not a big fan of the final design. I think the rates should have been lower and fewer in number, but still, it's positive, it's better than nothing, and it certainly will improve the situation from what we have now. And all those factors on their own will justify rating upgrade as far as India is concerned. I think a lot of government spokespersons tend to be in a hurry rating agencies will take time once something is implemented, what the on-the-ground reality is, because they want to be sure that that's how it's playing out. And in India, what is announced and what is implemented and what the outcome is oftentimes can be different. But I'm actually pretty convinced over a 12-month period, India will certainly witness one rating upgrade.
Okay. The other good part, so to speak, has been the resilience of the rupee in the last 6-8 months, almost for a year now. A slight bit of a worry now is picking up. The dollar has strengthened. Some of the emerging market currencies have started reacting to it. You think India is in a better stance at this point in time, given to what it was in the last 2013 crisis?
Oh, unquestionably. And I'll also say that it's better compared to some of the other emerging markets. It is important to realize that in an interconnected, interdependent world, there is no such thing as a country that's an island unto itself. So yes, rupee will get impacted, but what's important to note is since the American election outcome, both rupee and Indian bonds have actually outperformed. And I think that underscores how the situation has changed. Obviously, for the bond market, the demonetization and the flood of cash into banks and what it means for bond yields obviously is an important play, as are expectations about RBI easing, which I don't think are fully well priced in yet. So those are differentiating factors. So I do think over the next 12 months, RBI will have room to cut rates even if US rates go up.
Sure. I know you had a non-consensus view since the beginning of the year of a possible 75 basis point rate cut by the RBI. With this demonetization move, with the liquidity now going up in the banking system, do you think there could be a positive surprise in terms of sharp rate cuts by the RBI?
Well, market rates will clearly come down, and some of them have already started to come down as far as yields are concerned. I think the bet on RBI's stance has to really be seen in the context of the inflation profile, which is going to be pretty benign. In any case, they've got a far wider band. The MPC does. That gives them a lot of leeway. Plus, don't forget the negative fallout on the real economy as a result of this demonetization might make the MPC a bit more amenable for cutting, with the idea that, look, it's a strong reform, near-term negative, but has a lot of merits over the longer term. So I still stick December we will see a rate cut and a total of 75 basis points over the next 12 months. Can RBI be more aggressive? Possibly. But right now, even that 75 is not really fully baked in as far as market expectation.
Okay. Rajeev, thank you very much for joining us and giving your perspective.
My pleasure. Thank you.